what I can buy with my money. Let's see. Kine, is it Kine? Or let me know that you're right, the pronunciation of your name. How would I pronounce your name? Kinney?
Teacher.
Kine. Okay. All right. So go ahead and read. So this first one, I'll just give you the hint. This is the way we say this. $1.25 buys a soda.
$1 and $2.50.
So 50 cents, $2, $1 to $2.50 buys a bottle of water. Okay. Try again.
$1 to $2.50.
Yes.
Buys a bottle of water.
Keep going.
And $3.50 to $4
Very
for
good.
a gallon of milk. $5 and $50 fast food meals. $500 for $5 for a whole cooked chicken.
So $5 for a whole cooked chicken. Now, sometimes I can get that less depending on where I buy it, but generally speaking, it's around $5. Okay, we're going to go to our we're going to go to our next slide. This one is a lot more reading, and so I'm going to break it in two, and I'll start with this first section up here at the top. And Sue, would you like to read this one?
Yes, considerations for eating at school. Nutritious food feeds your brain. Diet of fast food keeps you from doing your best. Everyone needs protein in the morning for their brain to work at its best. Questions to consider. Can I shop for my grocery close to my college? How do I get there and back? Can I cook for myself at college? Do I know how to make simple and nutritious meals? If not,
Okay. So we'll do that second part. Someone else would do that second part. Thank you, Sue. So these are things to practice ahead of time. Making simple, nutritious meals that you can do in a small kitchen. In the last several years, I lived by myself in a small apartment. And, you know, I came from having a fairly large kitchen. And it was much different to go to a house where I had a place to make my food that was about this big. And half of that space was my sink. And I had like one burner, and that was it. That was just so different for me. So I had to kind of rethink how I did my meals and how I cooked my meals, what I made and how much I made and so on. So these are things to practice ahead of time before you set off into, for example, one of the downsides is that some international students decide to live off campus because they'll save money. And maybe the first semester you need to live on campus because then you can get used to the, first of all, the culture, but second of all, where things are in that new town that you're going to. So, okay, we got the next section. If not, plan to have some meals in the cafeteria. And most colleges have what they call a meal plan. And so some of those meal plans, they say 9 meals a week. Other meal plans plan for 12 meals a week. So you have to kind of make those decisions about that. And let's see, who would like to read this? This is, who said yes?
Just I want to try it.
Jazz, okay, go ahead.
If not, plan to have some meals at the cafeteria. Meal plan. Many colleges offer different place for meal
Purchase.
purchase ahead of time. That way, you don't get stuck at the end of the month with no money, no food. Meal plan cost. University of Michigan make with on campus meal plan is approximately
Approximately. Approximately.
dollar 1,250 per term. University of Virginia Virginia is cost has a meal plan that has a range depending on number of meals. $2,800, $3,130 per semester. University of North Carolina.
Carolina.
It costs
This-
Carolina.
Carol.
Southern it costs
Carol.
as
So the first
Carolina.
syllable, Carol, with a L, and then the second syllable, Ina. Carol.
Carolina.
Okay, good.
Soda is cost has a very reasonable meal plan. $300, $700 per semester. 2 semester per year. Rice University in Houston, Texas, as a meal plan for a campus students. $2,500, $3,300 per semester, depending on the number of meals you plan to eat on campus. Thank you.
Okay, so remember we were talking about the different costs of living in different parts. So remember East Coast, the highest cost, West Coast, high cost too, South, Midwest is more reasonable. And then you have to look in those areas at the cities. So North Carolina has several colleges that are in what they call, there's a triangle of a bunch of colleges in and around Raleigh, North Carolina. And there's a lot of competition within those colleges for students. Okay, so when I was looking at college resources and talking about money, this particular website, bestcolleges.com, has a really good grouping of articles that talk about budgeting and different considerations for moving on campus or living on campus and things to consider about being an international student. This other website also had a number of really good resources relating to an overview on costs and budgets for international students. So those two were very good. And it gave me a lot of hope that there's some good information about how to plan your coming to America. All right, let's look at our idioms for today. Let's see. Hello, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm doing well, teacher.
Would you like to read this slide?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Bottom line, meaning the most crucial fact, usually the money that it is going to cost, but often the effect of the problems that are challenging the group. Origin for hundreds of years, accountants have added up the profit and loss of companies. The sum appears on the bottom line of the column of numbers. Well, the bottom line still is a bookkeeping term showing profit or loss. It has taken on more general meaning since the mid-1900s. Now, this phrase refers to any crucial. How to pronounce that word?
That's good. Here, I will highlight it. Hold on a second. Crucial.
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 Okay. Crucial decision or final result. Financials or not. Example, the bottom line is that we cannot afford that university with or without a scholarship unless they will include living expense. The cost of living in that area is just too high. The latest saying at the end of the day.
Okay, so when we look at the bottom line or the all the costs all considered, then making your decision and what means what, okay? What means, for example, you like the area of the country, you've looked at maybe some videos and some YouTubes about that city. And believe it or not, there's some really great walking tours of university towns so that you can actually understand from somebody who's walking that campus what the campus looks like. Okay. So there's that on one side, there's costs on the other side. And then there's how you feel about it, and also maybe recommendations that you've had from other people. All right, next one is breaking the bank or break the bank. Let's see. Lily, how about this one? What do you think about that?
Yes, sir. Like break the bank, meaning when the cost of something is more than you can reasonable afford. Origin, scholars believe that this phrase originates sometime around 1600 when gamblers won more money than the house bank could afford to pay out. Example, Mr. Joseph got a huge payout in Las Vegas. It almost broke the bank. The owner had to scramble to find enough cash to pay him his winnings. Related sayings, one broke.
So we have a video for that today.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Have you ever been shopping and heard someone say, I don't want to break the bank? This is a simple phrase that you can easily add to your American English vocabulary. Let's hear it in a conversation.
I wanted to buy a new car. I saw one at the dealership yesterday, but it was so expensive. How expensive? Very expensive. Way too much for me. I can't afford it, and I don't want to break the bank.
This phrase means to use up all of your money, and it comes from gambling. If a gambler wins more money than the casino has on hand, it's called breaking the bank. And when someone has no money, you can say he is broke. And that's English in a Minute.
Okay, and so breaking the bank and went broke are related. Those are related sayings. Next up, now we may have talked about this drop in the bucket from long time ago. Does anybody remember what that means? A drop is a very small amount. Let's see. I haven't heard Win read lately. And would you like to read, Win?
Yes, teacher. Drop in the bucket meaning a very small insignificant amount. Origins this expression came from the Bible. Exodus 9:50 as a drop in the ocean. It's easy to see that one little drop of water is close to nothing when compared to the water in a bucket. In the same way, a small amount of anything is like a drop in the bucket when compared with the full amount that is needed for the science. Example, I said all month to find those shoes, but I still only have a drop in the bucket. Related saying, needed in the haystack, don't see the small stuff, small in the grand scheme of things.
So it's a very small, teeny weeny amount. And we were very fortunate that Tori got a scholarship. It wasn't the whole amount, but it wasn't a drop in the bucket either. So we were very fortunate that some of her college expenses were saved and we could afford to send her to college. The next one is balance the books. Let's see. Emma, we haven't seen you in a while. Would you like to read today?
Yes. Balance the book, meaning making certain that the amount of money spent is not more than the amount of money received. Origin, another accounting term that has come into everyday use in business. Example, if our business loses any more money, we won't be able to balance the book this year. Related say equivalence recover costs.
Okay, thank you. So balance the books is another accounting term. So because money, accountants count money, right? And accountants look at invoices, money that comes in, money that goes out, and then how much money we have versus how much payroll is, and so on and so on. So because that is so tied into money, accounting terms are all over the idioms relating to money, as you might expect. Okay, this one is an interesting one. We used to have a type of a store that we would call the nickel and dime store. And then it became the dime store. And they had many, many different names. Today, we have those kind of stores and they're called dollar stores. So they're not nickel stores anymore. So there's inflation that went along with that. They were nickel stores and then they became dime stores and now they're dollar stores. So it's Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and Dollar General. And lots of people use those stores, me included, to get basic stuff, like a pencil, like a scissor, like paper, like school supplies, and so on. So nickel and dime. Let's see who else we have. Theta, would you like to read this one?
Yes. Nickel and dime, meaning an important small time, trivial, petty, but it also can be used to mean that a person is acting in a petty way or a cheap manner. Origin, in this 20th century, African American saying nickel and dime refers to two of the smallest units of the American money. Anything that's nickel and dime is the opposite to big bucks. Example, he said that he worked for a big corporation, but he lied. He really was for a nickel and dime company. Another example, he never takes her to a fancy restaurant. He always nickel and dimes her. The latest saying, cheapskate, tight whip.
So if someone is acting in a petty way, that second phrase might apply. He always nickel and dimes her. This can also relate to our employers. And when we, and really, I find that this phrase, nickel and dime, refers to an employer to an employee relationship more than almost any application. So this would be where I would say, my boss is nickel and diming me. And I'll give you an example. In my previous company where I worked, my director was very cheap. She looked very, very, very closely at every single penny that we would spend, especially on printer costs. So if I had to print up materials for my client and I was running through my toner, and when you buy toner for your printer, it's pretty expensive nowadays. And so she would say, Esther, you didn't get your toner from the secretary? And I'm thinking, the secretary is 600 miles away. She has to send me toner and it takes a week and a half to get it. I ran out. I went and got it. So she was nickel and diming. But what it did reinforce to me is that I had to think ahead. So that kind of a statement, nickel and diming, is referring to someone who is very cost conscious. Now, on the flip side, highway robbery. Let's see. Sarah, would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Highway robbery, meaning an extremely high price to charge for something. Origin, during the time of Shakespeare and in the early 16th century, it was common for travelers on the open road to be held up and robbed by armed highwaymen. With time, this phrase came associated with goods and services that were so expensive that the buyer felt that he or she was being robbed by the seller. Example, $300 a night for hotel room. That's highway robbery. Later sayings that cause an arm and a lash. Pay through the nose. Thank you.
Thank you. Remember, we did cost an arm and a leg a couple of maybe a couple weeks ago. And so wait till you hear the next one. Highway robbery. Okay, let's talk about that for just a minute. As you're driving, okay, let's say you decide, well, I'm here in America and I want to see the United States, or I want to take a road trip because everybody is going to go home and it's a 4-day weekend, and I'm going to get together with some of my friends and we're going to take a little road trip. Remember that things that are along the highway are going to be higher in price, right? So if you're going to get food, or if you're going to stay at a hotel room, you may want to look at something that's just a little bit off the highway. Even sometimes if it's just a couple of blocks off the highway, the price is better. So keep that in mind. Highway robbery is still going on the highway. All right, highway robbery still carries on. Okay, this next one is pretty gruesome. Who can take it? I bet Santhar can take it. It's a tough one.
Pay through the nose means to pay too much for something. Origins and idioms from the 1300s. Rhinos was one a slang word for money, but originally it was the Greek word for nose. The two words are similar in sound and their meanings might have come together to make this expression. Another possibility comes from the Danish authorities charging Irish people a fortune in the 9th century and cutting all out, slitting the nose of those who failed to pay their taxes. Example, you pay through the nose to send your kids to Dutch university. Not only do they charge a high tuition, but the university is in a very expensive area of the city. Later says pay and a lack highway robbery.
Okay, so that's a really extreme history of paying through the nose, right? So if somebody would not pay their taxes, that they would, you know, make a cut in their nose. Yikes, that's pretty rough. So those Danish folks, they were really serious about getting their taxes. Okay, I thought I had one for that. Oh no, what it is I have an article for you if you want to look at it. I'll put that in the chat here and you can look at that on another day or read it for your leisure. Next one here. Okay, drive a hard bargain. So I imagine that you know somebody like this. Okay, excuse me. Hey Yoon, have you read yet?
Not yet, teacher.
Would you like to read this one?
Yes, sure.
Please do.
Drive a hard bargain, meaning to insist on hard terms in making an agreement that is often to your advantage, to buy or sell at a good price. Origin, this idiom goes back to ancient Greek greetings. It made its way into English about 500 years later. To drive means to vigorously carry through on some task. Hard means tough. Example, my mom would drive a hard bargain for clothing that was sold on the street. She had no problem handling. Related sayings, handling.
So this is where that you're going to bargain with somebody, where you're going to negotiate and you're going to maybe drive down the price with that person. Now, some vendors, my mom would know, would be, you know, they would stick to their price. And other vendors would, you know, have this playful, you know, obviously they're making money, but they would haggle with my mom. And I'm sure that they enjoyed getting her and making her crazy for it, because she was an old lady at the time, and they would really get her going, and it was a lot of fun to watch. But anyway, haggling is that. And then the other term for driving a hard bargain is negotiator. So someone who negotiates might even be a lawyer that you have hired because you need, you know, you're going to sue the company or whatever, or you're, you know, buying property and you want to make sure that you get the best price. So you might hire a lawyer or a realtor to help you drive a hard bargain. Okay, the next one, let's see, where are we here? Other side of the coin. Swam, have you been reading yet?
No.
Would you like to read this one?
Yes. Other side of the coin, meaning opposite side of point of view. Origin. This expression has been around since the beginning of the 20th century and is widely used. Every coin has two sides, but you can only see one side at a time. Every issue has more than one side to it. Example, the new building is wonderful, but the other side of the coin is that the rents will be extremely high when the buildings open as their occupancy. Related sayings on the flip side.
And on the flip side, gets used a lot too. So, all right. And pass the hat. This is an interesting one. You may know street musicians. Nowadays, today, there are interesting pages that you'll find, and they're called Go Fund, F-U-N-D, Go Fund Me. And in one case, a friend of ours passed away very suddenly. Young man, I think he was 30, maybe 6, he was 36, and he passed away so fast, we couldn't even believe it. His wife was still in college, and she set up, or someone in her class set up, a GoFundMe page, and they actually paid for his funeral by using a GoFundMe page. Okay, I haven't heard from Daphne. Daphne, would you like to read this?
Okay, sure. Pass the hat, meaning to ask for contributions to beg. Origin, at one time, hats were passed around at entertainment events by people asking for money. The custom may have originated with street musicians who entertained people and then request payment. Example, we need help in paying for the funeral for our friend. He has no family. We will have to pass the hat. Related sayings, have, hat in hand, pass the bucket.
Thank you. Okay, so pass the hat can actually now take on a digital, if you want to call GoFundMe, which it is digital, but it can take on a digital life if you want to call it that. Okay, let's see. I saw Johnny. Is that right? Or Junie?
Yes, teacher.
Which, and how would I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, Johnny, yeah.
Johnny?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to read Throw Money at a Problem?
Because why not, yeah. Okay. Throw money at the problem, meaning to spend a lot of money on trying to solve a problem, rather than doing a more thoughtful and practical search for other solutions. Origin, a cartoon from 1934, displayed the president throwing money at the problem of homelessness just to the market collapse. Example, my brother often just throw money at a problem rather than really finding solution. I read this saying, send good money after bad.
Okay, I also have a video for this one. So hold on a moment.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Money can fix many things, but this sounds wasteful.
Throw money at the problem.
My friend is so upset. Her son is failing school.
Oh boy, what is she doing about it?
Well, she bought him a new computer, a bunch of educational games, and therapy. you know, to help him with his fear of tests.
Sounds like she is just throwing money at the problem. Maybe the kid just needs to study more.
If something breaks in your house, you can pay someone to fix it. If you have a health problem, you can pay a doctor to help you. But it can't fix everything. To throw money at a problem means to spend a lot of money instead of trying other methods. And that's English in a minute.
Okay, and we had, that's a really interesting one, I think, because in relationship to going to college, and I've actually said this a lot of times in different ways, and this is a good way to talk about it. The best money spent on college is not necessarily spent on the biggest or the most prestigious college. At the end of the day, and there's another idiom that we've used before, or bottom line, you're working on getting what? A diploma, right? You're working on getting those letters behind your name. You're working on getting the experience. You're working on getting project experience and internships. And depending on the actual career that you want, not the highest dollar university does not necessarily mean the best result. Okay, so that's another way of saying that. Okay, save for a rainy day. How about Lynn? Would you like to read this one?
Yes, teacher. Save for a rainy day, meaning to save for a time of need, to put money away for future needs. Origin: since the 60th century, rainy day has meant a time of need, misfortune, hardship, or affliction. So if things are sunny for you now, don't waste all you have. Put some money in saving for a rainy day because circumstances can change. Example: remember with each paycheck to save for a rainy day. Later saying, put aside, stash away, stock by.
Okay, and that's our last idiom of the day. I noticed, and I'm very proud, because many of you are reading with a lot more confidence. And when you're coming to a word that you don't know, you're sounding it out and you're going through that word a little bit more slowly. I'm really excited because I also see that many of you are reading along with the person who's reading, which is awesome because that practice as you're reading more out loud, and that practice helps you. And actually, I think that many of you have actually gotten more pronunciation, and your pronunciation is getting crisper. One of the things that we looked at when my daughter was training to be an ESL teacher is we looked at her diction and how she says her D's, her T's, her TH's, whether, decided, and that those are crisp and can be heard distinctly. So when she did her interview for her ESL position in South Korea, one of the things that one of the feedbacks that they gave her was that her diction was very clear and distinct. And that's one of the reasons they really appreciated having her work with their young children. Little ones, especially when they hear mushy words. So you can pass over words like weather, and you don't get the TH in the middle, weather, or even my name, Esther. You don't hear that H really clear. You don't hear that T really clear. But as I'm listening to each of you read, I'm hearing that you're getting more crisp in your pronunciations. And that's awesome. And that comes with practicing out loud. The next time we get together, I found a new app that I'm going to show you. And it's about practicing with an app that helps you to work on your American English pronunciation. And it's really a pretty nice app. The other app, which I may have mentioned before, maybe not, I don't know, is Duolingo. So if you've not heard of it before, we'll talk a little bit about it next time. That'll be on Thursday morning. Duolingo, and I believe the other one is called Bold Voice. I believe those are the two that I'll talk to you about next time. And we will do more idioms. We'll probably do a review of these idioms, the idioms about money and the idioms about, I don't know if we did a review on the travel idioms, I can't remember. So I'll look over my notes and see which ones we need to review. And we may have a short self quiz so that you can help yourself to remember, do I remember that or not? Believe it or not, since we started reviewing idioms, we have talked about more than 200 idioms. And if you think about that, that's a lot. That's a lot. So we need to review those periodically. And today, one of our reviews was cost an arm and a leg, right? And remember those three that we just talked about: cost an arm and a leg, which is what we had before. And today's was highway robbery, meaning it costs a lot of money. Okay. Another one was pay through the nose. Remember that awful story. And then the other one was break the bank. Wow, that costs way too much. I don't want to break the bank. So those several have similar meanings. Okay, well, for the last few minutes, has anyone been reading any new idioms or come across any unique idioms?
Hello.
Yes, Theta.
Actually, I heard one in in interview or something, but I'm not sure is that an idiom or not. But I will tell you, is that the phrase is that we are in serious hot water.
Oh, we're in hot water.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we're in hot water. Well, that means we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. So, okay, imagine that you had boiling water thrown on you. What would happen? You would get burned, right? Okay, So have you ever heard the story about the frog in the pot? Has anyone heard that story? Yes, Theta? You
Yes,
have
yes.
heard? Okay, so you know that the frog goes into the pot of water and the pot of water is nice. It's just kind of cool. Maybe it's even a little warm, but not hot. Like on a day like today, when it's really warm outside, the frog's in the water and the water's nice and warm. Well, then they they crank up the heat. And the frog just hangs out and he hangs out and he hangs out and the water's a little bit hotter and the water's a little bit hotter. And finally he is boiled and he didn't even know it. But if you get thrown into hot water, what would happen? Or the frog would jump right out, right? The frog gets dumped into really hot water, he would jump right out. So we're up to our neck in hot water, is we are in trouble. We're in big trouble. Let me think. I'm trying to think of the other ones that go along with that. And I will have to look that one up because my brain is fried. I'm in hot water. I'm in hot water. All right. Thank you, Theta. That was great. Has somebody else got one for me? Lynn Lott usually has one. Where is she? Hello. Did you find one this week?
Yes, teacher, I'm thinking.
Oh, you're thinking of one. Okay. The sky is the limit. That means anything is possible. The sky is the limit.